It's your favorite Foxy writer, Brandy Ackerley, here with the 34th chapter of Hunter's Gambit. Oh my gosh, it's been insane here this week. First, I spent an entire night going through my schedule for the rest of the month. It was a daunting task, but a necessary one, not only due to the increase in migraines this month, but also since I'm increasing my streaming schedule. I have made the decision to treat streaming as my day job, at least until I get an actual day job. So that means I'm going to be streaming an awful lot this month. Part of that decision means that I'm trying to also expand where I stream. So I'm going to be adding a weekly stream to YouTube on Sundays going forward, starting this very week on the 16th. The Sunday streams will start at the same time as my Twitch streams, 9 p.m. PST, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing like 4-hour stints or if I'm going to shorten them up a little bit until I get an audience. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I'm going to play that a little bit more by ear. But I will be on the 16th, so you can check me out there. Yeah. In addition to that, I am going to have one extra stream on Twitch during the day on the 24th. So yeah, keep an eye out for my schedule for that one to see exactly what time. It's going to be a busy month. It's going to be a very busy month now, especially with putting these videos out weekly as well, as you can tell by this one going up just a little bit later than usual. Thank you for just waiting patiently for it. And that leads me to my next bit of business. As of today's chapter, we are officially just 10 episodes away from the end of the Hunter's Gambit read-along. It's been an amazing ride so far, and I have enjoyed sharing it all with all of you. I hope that hearing it read by the author has been good for you guys too. Please let me know in the comments over the next 10 episodes. I would love to do a finale episode with comments and such, so long as there are enough. So yes, put down those, and I will try and do a full finale episode. Okay. Also, that sort of thing is going to be what's required if you guys want me to continue putting out the second book this way. So let me know if you want it. Let me know if you want the second book. I want to hear. Let me know in the comments over the next 10 weeks what you thought of the book too. So excited. I'm so excited. Now, last week on Hunter's Gambit Read-Along, Kazunaha and Richard had found a ship in a hidden grotto where their information had said that the ship they were looking for should be. Is it the right ship? Is the treasure still there? What have Isashi and Hana been up to since we last saw them? Let's continue and find out. Okay, let me just pull up the book here. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. It was right here, Hana said. She was crouching, her hand on one of the biggest footprints Hisashi had ever seen. Not too long ago either. The mud hasn't had a chance to harden yet. Hisashi grunted her displeasure. Unlike Hana, she kept her gaze up. The creature was close, and clearly a meat-eater. The pile of its excrement that they'd found gave that away. It had the fur and hair tufts found in most predator shit, but if that wasn't enough, this one also had stringy black hair and tiny bits of bird skulls in it. It had been eating the goblins. It had probably been eating their birds and other small things it could catch as well. The creature had to be stopped and killed. Small creatures weren't too difficult to deal with. They tended to have numbers on their side more than anything else. 20 of the small creatures could take you down, of course, even if you were a good fighter. Superior armor and weapons helped, though, and could turn the situation around. It was how humans had survived. The big creatures were much more difficult. They tended to have supernaturally thick hides that turned all but the best blades. They also hit a lot harder. Their superior size led to an increase in strength as well, making them masters at taking down prey. They were more difficult to kill, but speed and using their size against them, as well as knowing their vulnerabilities, could turn the tide. The real issue was that the littler monsters tended to follow them. Even seeing their friends get eaten didn't stop the creatures from sensing that their loyalty would be rewarded with safety and sustenance. The only time they fought amongst themselves was when they were too similar in ability and power. This one wouldn't have anything in this area to fight against. They might need all 5 hunters working together to take it on, depending on its strength. With superior numbers and perhaps even some of Hidan's guardsmen to help pepper it with arrows, they could kill it and send the goblins packing again. First things first, though, they had to save Himiko's sister. Before, she had been focused on getting the girl away from the man until she could put her fears to rest. But with this creature circling the area, Isashi knew that they had to get the civilians back to safety as quickly as they could, and then find the other hunters to help them take out the threat. Isashi, Hana said, I think we need to discuss what we're doing out here. Isashi bristled. What do you mean by that? I don't think we can keep going after Kazunaha and her boy toy. It's not under discussion. That's why we're out here, Hana. We came out here to track it. And save the civilians, Isashi said. You can tell it's close just as easily as I can, Isashi. Don't play dumb. You know what that means. Isashi narrowed her eyes. True, but it isn't heading towards town. It's circling something, and sooner or later it will come across those two. We need to get them back to town and grab the other hunters. Hana turned back to her, glaring. Stop the attitude. This is more serious than either of us thought it was. Your thoughts may be on that girl back home, but I need you here, not daydreaming. Not with the creature this close. I need your head in the game. Isashi bit back her first response and reworded it. I don't know what you're talking about. My thoughts are on getting Kazunaha safe and sound back home. That's true. But my mind is not on Himiko or anyone back in town. This problem is way bigger than that. Then you agree we need to change our priorities. This monster needs to be destroyed. I don't disagree at all. I'm disagreeing with your method. We can't kill it alone. Unless you can tell me you've learned about its weaknesses so we have a chance of killing it. I know this monster is skilled and it's hunting in our territory. The fact that it left this here, and part of a second, Hana pointed at a second track, visible only because a small amount of water had sloshed into it as the creature made it, means that we might be gaining on it. If we can get closer, we can start harrying it. It will start making more mistakes. Having it make more mistakes won't help us, Isashi told her. Not enough. She couldn't believe that they were even having this discussion. We need the other hunters. If it's already gotten to the goblins... By the gods, Hana! Those goblins killed nearly 100 people 5 years ago when they snuck into the city. The 5 of us were hardly enough to defeat them. We can't take it and the goblins ourselves. Maybe with the other hunters, with some of the better bowmen in the city as backup. Maybe then. What we don't need is to back it into a corner before we're ready for it. Hana snorted and stood, brushing her hands off her pants. I don't think it's got the goblins under it yet. Their home is over a day and a half to the south. It may have found a few goblins that have left the main tribe, maybe on a nest collecting mission. It hasn't found the rest, though. If we go after it now, the little creatures won't get involved. If we wait a day or weeks, like you're suggesting, it will have the entire goblin town under it. And then, yes, we will need additional archers. It will put everyone in danger, rather than just us. You're talking about leaving Himiko's sister out here, on her own, while we hunt something that we need the other hunters to take on. I can tell that this creature is stalking something, and it clearly isn't us. What if it's them? Hana stood up. The girl got herself out here. She can take herself back and send the other hunters out here. Besides, she had that guy with her, didn't she? She'll have protection. Not a hunter himself, but certainly he's traveled enough to know some of the tricks. She'll be fine. It's us you should be worried about, not some townies. How do we know we can even trust this guy? Isashi growled. How do we know that we can't? I figure if he hasn't done anything yet, he isn't going to. Give the man a little leeway to at least make the mistake before you skewer him. Isashi let out a harsh breath. She didn't want to bring up the note she'd found, though she couldn't say why. No, that was a lie. She knew exactly why. Hana would assume that some slavers had gotten through, or she would argue that the letter had no connections to him, or that the slavers would have left after hearing about all the trouble caused. She'd thought of all those arguments herself. While true, it was the thought of how Himiko would look if Isashi had to be the bearer of bad news that made her desperate to rescue the girl. Kazunoha was Himiko's only family. Despite their differences, Himiko would never want something bad to happen to her. She'd been there for Himiko when she'd lost her father. She didn't want Himiko to ever have to go through that again. Ever. Can we track it back to its lair? Hana stood up and kicked at the print. If we hurry, I think we can. Let's go and see what the situation is. Then we can decide what we need to do, Isashi suggested. Hana nodded and started tracking the creature again. And that's it, that's it! There we go, there we go. Let me just put the book down, mark our place for next week. Hard decisions all around for Isashi this time. But that's part of what I like about my books. I don't hesitate to put my characters through rough times and events. On the other hand, I also know that it can't be pain all the time either. You need to know the highs before you can appreciate the lows. It's one of the things I look for in the good books I read, and one of the things I think I'm particularly good at for that reason. You tend to be better at the things you love most finding in books. If reading fight scenes gets your blood pumping, and that's one of your favorite things to write, that's probably because you're also at least a little bit good at it. It'll also probably be because it's one of the things you practice the most. Anyways, that's going to be it for me for this week. Let me know what part you like reading best in books, and if you're a writer, let me know if those are also the things that you consider yourself the best at. Finally, I would love to see all of you at my YouTube debut show this Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. PST. I think we're going to be going over a very affordable way to get some animated graphics for your streams, as well as doing, of course, a general introduction to me, depending on how many people show up. Finally, if you made it this far, please consider liking the video, sharing, and subscribing if you really want to make me happy. And I will hopefully see all of you on Sunday. Bye!